Hey guys, welcome to the Movie Champ Show. This is episode 12.
12.
Yes.
The Dirty Dozen.
Yes. And guys, I'm your host Walker Cheatham, and with me tonight I have
EJ Flemming.
All right, guys. We have a couple stories that we're going to be talking about today. We're going to be talking about a Morbius movie being made. Fox halting production on their Queen biopic. A Scooby-Doo spinoff movie for Daphne and Velma.
Okay.
A Crenshaw the Giant Cat movie is being made. We're going to be talking about a couple trailers. We got Infinity War. We have Thoroughbreds, All the Money in the World, Paddington 2, Mary Magdalene. And then we have a whole bunch of movie reviews that we're going to be talking about. You're going to be doing a brief review on Mudbound.
Yes.
For reasons I guess you'll talk about later. I'm going to be talking about Coco, 3 Billboards, Outside Ebbing, Missouri, Lady Bird, and then we're going to get to our box office predictions. So we got a pretty stacked show tonight.
Yeah, it's pretty tight tonight.
I didn't, with a week off last week, I think we ended up with a few more stories than I think we were even going to we were expecting.
We were expecting a slow news week coming out of Thanksgiving. Obviously not.
I certainly did not see the Infinity War trailer coming up.
Well, I had a feeling it was coming, but I didn't think it was going to be like... I thought it was going to be closer to like maybe Last Jedi.
Yeah, I was... to be honest, I thought it was coming out a long time ago. So whenever it was finally announced, like the day before, that did surprise me a little bit. So I guess we'll go ahead and get to our very first story, guys. If you've been watching the show before, you're going to notice a few changes that we've made.
Yes.
And we talked about one of these changes, I think the last show. We said we were going to be doing a new way of grading.
Thumbs up, thumbs down, or in the middle of the road.
Yeah, so we were going to be making sure we put that in this episode.
Yes.
And there's a new. You'll see how it's going to work.
If
you guys are watching the show on YouTube, then you'll be able to see this. If you're on the podcast, obviously we're going to tell you how we graded this.
Yes.
I think you gotta turn your mic a little or something. I'm not hearing you very well in my ears.
Okay, how do I sound now?
Much better.
Okay, cool.
Okay. All right, guys. So the very first story we're going to be talking about is a Morbius spinoff. Morbius is obviously part of the Spider-Man universe, right?
Yes, he is.
Okay, so let's go ahead and get to this story. Can you read the notes?
Yes, it says, Sony's cinematic universe based on Spider-Man characters just got a little bigger. The studio is developing Morbius, a feature project centered on Spider-Man anti-hero Morbius the Living Vampire. Burke Sharpless and Matt Sazama, who worked on the recent Power Rangers movie, wrote the script, which was just submitted to the studio after a secret development process. Morbius is Dr. Michael Morbius, a scientist who has suffered a rare blood disease and attempted to cure himself to disastrous results. He instead became afflicted with a condition that was a form of vampirism, the thirst for blood, along with fangs and super strength, and fought Spider-Man. Over time, he became a slightly heroic figure in his own right.
Man. So, based off of that story, what are you giving it right now? Just off the top.
Just off of that?
Yes.
I'm going to be middle of the road.
So you're giving it the middle of the road.
Yes, the middle of the road.
Well, I guess I will be similar. I'm going to give it the middle of the road also. So, we have a few things that I added into this note that are going to be factoring into why. Most of my reasoning here is we don't know who the director is, we don't know who's starring in it, and Sony has just been throwing out all of these Spider-Man spinoff movies. They're doing a little better of a job than Warner Brothers is in that department, in that they are actually in development. As far as like Venom is, like they've been shooting for the last couple weeks, so that's a positive. That's why I'm not giving it a complete thumbs down.
Same here,
because these movies seem like they're actually happening.
Yes.
And the other one, which we have here in the notes, is that these two writers...
they're kind of on the cold streak.
Yeah, under their belt. What movies they have under their belt right now?
They said, here's their slight filmography. Dracula Untold, which was supposed to have been like the proto attempt at a shared universe for the Universal monsters.
Yeah.
The Last Witch Hunter, which was like a Vin Diesel passion project. And Gods of Egypt.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's the one that made me go,
Yeah. By the way, Night Hippie Chick says, "Hi, guys."
Hello.
Hey, welcome back again.
Welcome back.
Thank you for coming to this episode.
Yes. It looks like we all enjoyed the extra week off.
Yes. I'm trying to get this chat opened up, and it's looking like I'm just going to use it as a tab now.
Okay.
Anyways, yeah. So those are many of the reasons right now is that they don't have this. The information that we do have right now isn't very promising.
No.
Now, Dracula Untold wasn't a terrible movie, but it did terrible in the box office, and it was kind of a split movie as far as what the critics thought of it.
Mm-hmm.
But so if that's their most positive thing that they have going for them right now, that's not saying much.
That's not saying much at all.
So once we hear a little bit more about this, then that will affect me whether or not I'm actually going to go ahead and give this a full thumbs down or a thumbs up.
Yeah, we got to hear more. That's why we're in the middle of the road.
So the guy sounds like they have interesting source material, which is good.
Mm-hmm.
So
an anti-hero vampire set in the Spider-Man universe, that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Even though, isn't that technically what Blade is?
Yeah, it is.
Oh, side note, I found out something interesting happened the other day when I was at the store.
What's that?
They actually have a action figure line called the Legend series for the Marvel characters, and they made one based on the Daredevil show from Netflix.
Really?
And they have a line, they have the Daredevil, Punisher, and Elektra in the line, but there's two more that are interesting to me, and it may be a teaser to what's coming in season 3.
And I kind of wish... I did kind of think that... Did you finish watching Punisher? Did you watch all of it yet?
I haven't watched it.
Okay, so it wouldn't be a good idea to talk about it.
Yeah,
I was going to say that would have been fun to review sometime, but...
Yeah, but I'm going to finish my story.
Go ahead, finish your story.
I was looking at the back of what all the figures included in the line, and he had your Daredevils and P characters was on the show, but there were two more that hasn't been on the show yet, and it was curious that they added them in this line.
Okay, and they're under the official Netflix Punisher banner?
Daredevil.
Oh, sorry. Oh, Daredevil. Sorry.
Yeah, they actually had the Daredevil. It was actually modeled after the Punisher in the line was modeled after John Bernthal.
Okay.
So everything was modeled directly from the show.
Okay.
So it was interesting to see that Bullseye
hasn't been on the show yet?
Bullseye has not
Bullseye. No. Okay, yeah, I'm thinking Kingpin. Sorry.
Yeah, Bullseye has not been on the show yet. And more curiously, Blade was a part of this line.
Oh.
So I think it's interesting that they decided to throw Blade in as a part of the Daredevil line.
That is interesting.
Netflix's Daredevil line.
See, now I know they had talked about bringing Blade into the Netflix as a Netflix show without Wesley Snipes, obviously. But yeah, I'd heard that were doing. So maybe that might be their way of bringing it in there. Yeah, and I did say that the Marvel shows are staying at Netflix. They're not moving over to Disney's streaming service, which is another cool thing. Mm-hmm. So yeah, that sounds really cool.
That just caught my eye. We're talking about Marvel, Spider-Man, and all that. Wanting to tell that story.
Well, they successfully shoehorned in the Punisher through the Daredevil show, so it'd be really cool.
He's a hero that makes sense to shoehorn in the Daredevil.
Right. So Kingpin's is a really cool. He was terrible. Colin Farrell's was terrible.
Talking about Bullseye.
I keep saying Kingpin, Bullseye. Gosh.
Yes, you keep saying.
See, this is why I don't talk about this stuff.
Yeah, yes.
Well,
let's just move on. Then.
Yes.
Because I see I'm hurting my friend with all my comic book knowledge.
I'm frying an egg on my head right now.
Yes. So
my goodness.
On to the next one.
Yes. Okay, so the next story is Fox halts production on its Queen biopic. Fox has halted production on the studio's Queen biopic Bohemian Rhapsody due to the unexpected unavailability of director Bryan Singer. Sources tell The Hollywood Reporter that Singer failed to return to set after the Thanksgiving holiday break, leaving producers nervous about the state of the production and talking about potentially replacing him. In a statement to the BBC, a rep for the director says his absence is due to a personal health matter concerning Brian and his family. However, sources say that filming on the biopic has been easy. Has not been easy. For example, insiders tell The Hollywood Reporter that producers and his star had grown tired of Singer's behavior, which saw him routinely show up late to set. Another source has said that a cinematographer had to step in and direct during previous non-showing. Wow. So,
that's interesting.
What are we giving this story itself? Are we giving... I guess technically this is a thumbs down for me.
Yeah, it's a thumbs down.
This is a thumbs down from both of us on this story.
Because it's Bryan Singer's had a history of this. Because according to here, it says this is not the first time he's done this. He's did this before filming
Batman Returns or Superman Returns. Golly, superhero names, guys.
And then you also did this during X-Men Apocalypse.
Yes. So, I mean, he has a history of this. I don't know if I necessarily believe the health issues. I don't know. I mean, I don't know what to think.
If it is health issues, I hope they get better. But if it's not, then it's just like it's kind of like you doing the cough in the phone when you're calling in sick from the job kind of thing. Then that's not cool.
I think there's a lot going into this story.
There's a lot going on.
It could be a Louis C.K. situation.
Yeah, he knows that the action's getting ready to fall on him next, so he's making all his moves now.
Because it's been no secret in Hollywood that he has been that his name is attached to a lot of crummy situations, child sex ring stuff. I mean, I don't know. I don't want to turn this. This is a movie talk show. I don't like it turning into a gossip talk show.
Yeah.
So I tried to avoid that kind of stuff. But Bryan Singer, his name is involved too often in that kind of stuff.
So yeah, that's all.
So I personally would, if that is the truth, I hope they remove him from the project. I don't want him attached to any more projects after that anytime soon. Anyway, until he gets his stuff in order. Mm-hmm. But. I don't know. I mean, if he's got a history of this stuff, the return to their investments have not been that well with Bryan Singer lately.
And now to counterpoint that question, I have if they do decide to replace him, who would you choose?
That's a good question. If they replaced him for this biopic, I haven't been a big fan of what's going on with this biopic with the band wanting this to be more about them than it is about Freddie Mercury, because he made that band. So I would rather see a good focus of this biopic be on him. So,
but I would see where
the best biopic I've ever seen in recent history was Walk the Line, and James Mangold, I believe, directed that. Mm-hmm. So he did a really good job. I wouldn't mind seeing him. I wouldn't mind seeing who you name yours right now. I'm trying to think of.
I'm trying to think of someone who would do good music and everything. And one name that caught to my mind was who could do like Bill Condon.
Bill Condon, yes.
Because he did Dreamgirls.
Yes. Yeah, that is a really good one.
Because Dreamgirls almost felt like a biopic.
You're right.
Even though it was based on a musical.
Right.
It felt like a biopic in a way. And I thought it hit with Freddie Mercury being the kind of character that he was and everything. He'd be a perfect character to capture the dramatic side, but still give you that arousing musical moment too. Right.
I mean, and Queen was such a theatrical band. Mm-hmm. So somebody like Bill Condon
would be perfect.
Would be perfect. Mm-hmm. So, or for this cinematic band, I guess you would say. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I think I like your choice. If I was thinking of more of a cinematic director, I was thinking, I'm blanking on his name. He's the one that did Jobs, and he did 28 Days Later, or 28 Days.
Danny Boyle.
Danny Boyle would be a good one. And
I can see why you would pick him.
So, I think those are three good directors that would prefer over Bryan Singer if they did replace him. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I'm done with this story. I don't want to give him too much talk.
Okay. So speaking of James Mangold, though.
Yeah, speaking of James Mangold.
Wait, what? We jumped a story.
We jumped a story.
We jumped the whole story, people.
Did I go? Did you? I didn't. Did I?
No.
Oh yeah, you.
I'd read ahead.
Yeah,
so I read ahead. So I'm sorry.
James Mangold in the Scooby-Doo story.
Yes.
Just kidding, guys.
Yeah.
Okay, so you want to go ahead and read this one?
I'll knock it out.
Try not to cringe.
Okay. Daphne and Velma, the teen girl sleuths from Scooby-Doo, are getting their own origin story in a live-action feature-length film from Jennifer and Ashley Tisdale's production banner. Daphne and Velma is being produced by the Tisdale sisters' Blonde Girls production and Warner Brothers Television. Blondie Girls. Okay. And Warner Brothers Television Group, Blue Ribbon Content Digital Studio. Sarah Jeffrey, Shades of Blue, and Sarah Gilman, Last Man Standing, star in the title roles as Daphne and Velma, respectively. The film is currently shooting in Atlanta and is set to be released by Warner Brothers Home Entertainment in 2018. The studio isn't disclosing distribution details at this point. Daphne and Velma tells the story of Daphne Blake and Velma Dinkley before they team up with Scooby-Doo and the rest of the Mystery Inc. gang. The mystery-solving teens are best friends but have only met online, until Daphne transfers to Velma's school, Ridge Valley High. Stocked with high-tech gadgetry by the school's benefactor, tech billionaire Tobias Bloom, while their peers vie for a coveted internship at Bloom's company, Daphne and Velma try to uncover the reason why the school's brightest students are disappearing, only to emerge again in a zombified state.
Thumbs down. Thumbs down this story.
This sounds dumb, stupid. And the fact that it's coming out on home video doesn't even save it.
Yeah, I was seeing if you're picking up on all those titles. Warner Home Entertainment, Warner Television Group.
Yeah, as soon as I heard the television group, I said, "Oh, this sounds like this is some direct to VOD type stuff."
Yes.
and then when I saw me and distributed about home entertainment, I'm like, yeah.
And I know Blondie Girls, or whatever that's called, Blondie Girl Productions. I think they do. They have a couple shows that they produced on Freeform. So that feels like, and Freeform, I believe, is where they've been airing most of the made-for-TV Scooby-Doo movies, if I'm not mistaken. Or they on Cartoon Network?
I think so maybe both. Like maybe Cartoon Network gets them first, and then the Freeform gets them later, kind of thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, no.
So
no.
Yeah, I had heard that there was supposed to be either reboot of the Scooby-Doo movies. This obviously is not part of that.
Thank goodness.
And I'm curious if the reason why Warner Brothers obviously has always had the Hanna-Barbera stuff, right? So I was curious if this was being produced by them at first because they couldn't get the rights to all the Scooby-Doo story, or if they're doing this just because they can.
It's more of a because we can and we have the rights to it. Why not use? It's more of a we have the rights. Why not use them for stuff kind of thing?
Yeah. This is bad. This sounds bad.
And you see how it just sucked the joy out of both of us just reading that. Daphne and Velma are getting a spinoff movie. Nothing against them as characters, but there's no need for this.
Right.
There was no need.
And obviously, this is a
very stock plot.
This story was completely made up, obviously, because they said they met online and all this stuff. So this isn't going to be pulled from the source material, I guess.
This is not going to be part of the rich Scooby-Doo lore for years to come.
Right.
This is not going to sit up there with how they met Batman and the Harlem Globetrotters. That's for sure.
If they get stuck, they can always throw Scrappy in there somehow.
We do not mention Scrappy. Scrappy was a mistake. Hashtag Scrappy was a mistake.
Man, I should have, if I knew we were going to talk about James Mangold, that last story, I would have rearranged how this conversation was going to go, because now we're talking about something a little bit more interesting.
Yes, very much so.
James Mangold, the Logan director, is going to be adapting a giant cat story called Crenshaw. Writer-director James Mangold, who directed the critically acclaimed Logan for Fox, is attacked to direct Crenshaw, a feature adaptation of a children's book from Newbery-winning author Catherine Applegate that is set up at the studio. Applegate's book follows Jackson, a young boy whose family has fallen on hard times, at which point his imaginary friend, a giant cat named Crenshaw, comes back into Jackson's life to offer some help. Now, based off of what we have here, I'm giving this a thumbs up. How about you?
I'm right there with you. Thumbs up.
Thumbs up also.
Thumbs
okay.
up. And the reason why I'm giving it a thumbs up, it's a tentative thumbs up because, like I said, James Mangold's involved.
Right.
He's a good director, good writer. He pretty much did what he had to do with Logan. It was awesome. I still haven't seen Logan, full disclosure, but I want to.
Oh my god.
Yeah, he wants to crack his Arizona and kill me with it now because I haven't seen Logan.
Yeah.
But anyway, here's the main question about Crenshaw that I have.
What's that?
It's being developed at Fox.
Mm-hmm.
So, which animation studio is going to do it?
It's not an animated movie, though.
It's not?
It's live action.
Oh, it's a live action movie?
Yep.
Oh, well then never mind. I'm more intrigued to see it now that I know it's live action.
Yeah, I mean it's an animated cat, obviously, but live action.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be another Blue Sky film or something.
Mm-mm.
Okay. Well, I'm more intrigued now that I know that.
Yeah, and I don't know too much about the Crenshaw story. I mean, it's obviously based off a children's book, but apparently it deals with some pretty heavy stuff.
Oh yeah.
And with James Mangold directing, we saw how he did with Daphne Keane, or I saw how he did with Daphne Keane. Since you have not seen Logan yet, he's clearly good with working with child actors.
Mm-hmm,
so, yeah, this is going to be a pretty interesting film.
Mm-hmm. Are we gonna go to? Are we gonna get like another Bridge of Terror here, where it's like where they advertise it as a joyful little romp, and everybody by the end of the movie is like, well.
Yep.
I need a therapist now because this movie messed me up.
That's a good point because it does sound like a Walden style movie off the brief summary we have on it.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, I mean if we didn't have James Mangold's name attached to it and they just said Fox was adapting this, I probably would be in the middle here.
Mm-hmm.
But with James Mangold attached.
That raises interest a little
that
more.
brings my interest up to a thumbs up.
Mm-hmm.
So
now we get to the trailers.
Yep, we are to the trailers now. First trailer we're going to talk about is that Avengers Infinity War trailer. I don't have any summary of this story.
And we don't need one. Thumbs up.
We
really don't need one.
Apparently everybody in their family have seen this trailer.
I've watched it 7 times since it's come out, and that's not an exaggeration.
That's probably me too, at least 7 times. So there's a lot to get into in that trailer.
Mm-hmm.
There's a few people that we did not see in the trailer. We didn't see Hawkeye.
Yeah,
we didn't see Ant-Man. But I mean, this is a little bit over a minute trailer. So
2.5 minutes.
2.5 minutes. So you counted. Okay, good. So 2.5 minute trailer.
Yeah, I think they were left out on purpose because they were getting the major Avengers out of the way. They were getting your Iron Mans and Captain Americas out of the way now. So when they do a second trailer, they can start to pull in the other characters into the story now.
Right. Mm-hmm. And I like how, as far as cinematically, how we have seen, what's his name? Professor... Doctor Strange. Doctor Strange and Spider-Man, how cinematically it's they're getting a different look because this is, I mean, it's the Avengers movie and it's from different directors and stuff, but cinematically this is looking like it's going to fit the mood that they need for this movie, which seems to be this is going to be a huge war. A huge battle.
The war's in the title.
Yes. So, yeah, this looks so good.
It looks good.
Thanos looks good.
Oh yeah.
You can tell he looks so much like James Brolin. and sounds like James Brolin. So this is one of the more. I hope this is one of their better villains.
Oh yeah, where he just knocked out Iron Man. Yeah, that was impressive.
And Iron Man's getting a new suit for this movie, isn't he?
Yeah, he's getting I think he was wearing it when he got knocked out.
Right. So we got Iron Man in a new suit. We got Spider-Man in the Iron Spider suit. And,
spoilers for Homecoming.
Yeah, and then Thor was in his, or at least I saw in the background he never actually put on the suit, did he?
What?
Thor in his like iron suit. I saw it laying on the ground in one scene.
Thor?
Yes. Or sorry, God, jeez, Iron Man or the Hulk. The Hulk.
Yeah, the Hulk.
It's too late, guys. It's too late.
Yeah, the Hulk doesn't actually wear an iron suit. That's what the one Tony was in when he was fighting the Hulk.
Oh, okay. So. Okay.
Yeah. It is late, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's getting all his details messed up. The Hulk fights in a giant armor now.
Black Widow in her blonde hair. So clearly she's undercover, right?
Either she's undercover, or it might be a situation where what was done to her in the Black Widow program is wearing off.
Well, what was it? Captain America: Civil War. Or Tony Stark had told her something about somebody was coming at, like Secretary of State was coming at her at the end of the movie.
I may have missed that part.
I can't remember what the name of the person was. I will look that up.
So she might be undercover. It might be a situation where she's undercover. What happened to her in the Black Widow program might be wearing off. We don't know. We have to watch and see. There's a lot of interesting wrinkles and storylines that haven't been told to us yet. That's interesting. Like how did Falcon get out of the raft? Because remember, he was locked up in the raft at the end of the Civil War. Who lets him out and why? Does he break out? Does he get let out? Who knows? And there's a lot of interesting stories that's being told. What's going on?
Yeah, Thaddeus Ross was going after her.
Thunderbolt.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a big deal because he was the one that laid the Accords in front of them in the first place.
Oh, Jonathan Drew says, sup, Jonathan Drew.
Sup.
We stick around.
Yeah.
Anyways, we also didn't get to see a lot of who we had seen in Thor Ragnarok, Valkyrie and all that. But I mean, we know that a lot of them are going to be in this movie.
Oh yeah, there's going to be a lot of characters that will just be side characters. A lot of characters who were like feature characters in other movies are going to pop up as side characters in this one.
Right. And
So like when Thor's coming, with Thor being there, we know a lot of the characters that were introduced in Ragnarok are going to be there.
I believe the runtime for this movie is like 2.5 hours.
Yeah, the longest MCU movie made so far, and it's earned it.
Right.
It's earned every second.
Right.
And to its point, it's telling the exact same story Justice League tried to tell, but way better.
Hope so.
No, there is no hope in it because already we're invested in all the characters. The villain is actually a threat, and even though he's searching the universe for the MacGuffin, which is in this case the stones, we know what they do and why he wants them.
Not to mention, I believe this is one of the most expensive movies ever made, going in around $500 million in its production budget for this movie alone.
Isn't it? I thought that $500 million was split between two movies.
No, the whole $1 billion was split between the two movies.
Oh boy, Disney went all in. Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
Disney is going in, and you know what? Good for them.
Yeah.
Because they're getting all that money back in stride.
Oh,
Because you know the Marvel movies is making them money. Movies like Coco, which we're going to talk about later, is making them money. And then later on this year, you have Star Wars, which is just pulling in money for them from a whole different audience. So, yeah, they can afford $1 billion for two movies.
Yeah. So, I mean, if their trailer is any indication, they should, with breaking a record at over $200 million in 200 million views in 24 hours, beating out It, which had 197 in 24 hours, and It did pretty great. And this is coming off of a huge franchise.
I'm thinking this one's going to make like Avatar level money.
Yeah, all together, yeah. and it'll have a better opening weekend than Avatar. So.
Yeah, I think it'll have. I think because we've been waiting for. This is what every movie has come out to has led to.
Yeah.
And now that it's here, it's like we can't miss this. This is what we've been waiting for.
Right. So, I don't think we had anything else we needed to talk about for this.
Nope. May 4th, I'm gonna be there. Like I was telling my sister at the house, they could have just literally had someone walk out into a giant white room, look at the camera, and say, "Hey guys, Avengers Infinity War is coming out May 1st, so go check it out."
That's it.
And that's it. And everybody would be like, "Yep, I'm going."
I wonder if they were. They've already proven this year for several movies that curiosity isn't enough to sell a movie.
Mm-hmm.
But is curiosity for an already established franchise enough to sell a movie?
I would say yeah.
I mean, to sell like that. Like, if they were to do just that, could they do better in the box office, or do you think they'd do about the same? That's an interesting experiment.
Yeah, because I'm thinking at this point it's one of those situations where, like, if you know what's coming, you're going to see it regardless.
Because I know, like, for a Star Wars movie, they didn't show too much in their trailers and sold like crazy because it's Star Wars.
Mm-hmm.
Would they be able to do the same thing with an Avengers movie? Because the last Avengers movie didn't do that well, but that was because it was not a very good Avengers movie.
You talking about Age of Ultron?
Yeah.
I think Age of Ultron, they rushed.
Right. So
I do see where people say that it's not as good as the first one, but at the same time, what is?
Well, I've never been on the Joss Whedon train. I'm not a huge fan of Joss Whedon, so
fair enough.
I wasn't that big a fan of the first Avengers movie, so that's unpopular opinion.
Clearly, very unpopular. I loved it. I love Avengers, and I love Avengers: Age of Ultron. So I'm not quite there with you just yet.
Right. So when we're eventually, we discussed that we're going to do this whenever the time Avengers comes out. So this is a couple months, but we will be ranking our Marvel movies. We will be forced to rank them. But that, like I said, we have till May, so it's a long time from now.
Yeah, we have till May, and then 2 more Marvel movies to see before then too.
Yeah, we have Black Panther,
and then Infinity War.
Well, that's one more then.
Yeah, 1 more before Infinity War.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
That's gonna say, what else is it? Yeah. All right, so that's enough of that.
Yeah. All right, now let's go on to something a little more lighthearted.
Yes. Is this the right thing? No.
No, that's not
lighthearted.
That's not lighthearted at all, people.
Well, here, did I put it here? Here we
go.
It's out of order here.
Yay, now that's more like it. Paddington.
Okay, so Paddington 2.
Mm-hmm.
I believe I have a summary here. Okay. Can you read that? I can't read that.
Yeah.
Read that for me.
Settled in with the Brown family, Paddington Bear is a popular member of the community who spreads joy and marmalade wherever he goes. One fine day, he spots a pop-up book in an antique shop. The perfect present for his beloved aunt's 100th birthday. When a thief steals the prized book, Paddington embarks on an epic quest to unmask the culprit before Aunt Lucy's big celebration.
All right. So I'm giving this a thumbs up, and so are you.
Mm-hmm.
So we're not giving this a thumbs up because... I guess we are giving this a thumbs up because apparently, and I can only say apparently, Paddington 1 was a good movie.
Yes.
I can't say that from actually seeing it.
No.
But...
from what I've heard, it's like, from people who do talk about Paddington, it was like a pleasant surprise.
Right.
People were scared that they were going to, like, make it like your standard run-of-the-mill kids movies going to be doing hip-hop dancing and things like that. Kind of like what Peter Rabbit's going to be.
You're not wrong there.
I haven't forgot about you, Peter Rabbit. You have scarred me. Anyway, yeah, but Paddington was actually closer to the book. It was a more unique world, you know. He's a bear that can talk, and everybody's like, okay. And everybody rolls with it. It is like, but it was cool the way they actually just kept him true to what he was. They didn't try to make him, like, quote, pop culture references and whatnot. They just made a good movie, and that's what I've heard, and that's surprising that they did that.
Yeah, here's a quick piece of trivia for you. Can you guess where on the tomato meter this movie is, or the first Paddington is sitting?
I'm gonna say high 90s, 94,
Higher.
95,
Higher.
96,
Higher.
97,
Higher.
98,
Higher.
99.
Higher.
Oh, it has 100%.
It has 100%
The
critics.
first Paddington has 100%.
Yes, 100% for the critics and 91% from the audience. Why have I not seen this movie yet?
Clearly, we need to see this movie. We need to see Paddington.
Oh, I'm sorry. No, that's Paddington 2.
What?
That's Paddington 2 sitting at 100%. And it's because it's already been released in Europe. I did not look up the right Paddington movie. So
Whoa.
Paddington 2 is sitting at 100%.
Is that certified? Or is it just
not yet.
Just
So I guess once it's released here, because it doesn't come out till January here, but it's already been released in Europe. So the first Paddington,
how
I'm
many
so sorry.
reviews critics have reviewed it so
Oh, crap. Let me go back now. Sorry. First Paddington is sitting at 98% certified fresh, 80% audience rating. So that's still very high.
far? So, yeah, we definitely have to see Paddington and Paddington 2 now.
Yeah, so Paddington 2, 44 critics ratings.
How many of them? Well, we already know they're all fresh.
Yeah, so 100% of them are fresh.
Yeah, so, yeah, we got to see Paddington and definitely see Paddington 2. Thank you for not butchering this for people. I really appreciate that. I can't wait to watch these movies now. And Peter Rabbit, I'm looking to destroy you in the spring.
All right, so guys, if you let us know if you've seen the Paddington 2 trailer, what you guys thought about it. And
what's your favorite flavor of marmalade if you eat it?
And if you're from Europe, if you've seen this Paddington 2, let us know what you think about it.
Yes.
This is really cool. A sequel to an already pretty successful movie that I have not seen yet is sitting so high.
Yeah.
All right, so we're going to move over to a little bit. We're actually going to the one that I showed a second ago.
Now, from one extreme to the other.
Thoroughbreds.
From a lighthearted story about a pop-up book
Yes.
to two teenage girls wanting to kill someone's stepdad.
So here we go. Two upper-class teenage girls in suburban Connecticut rekindle their unlikely friendship after years of growing apart. Together, they hatch a plan to solve both of their problems, no matter what the cost. Now, we talked about this Thoroughbreds movie, and we'll go ahead and give our rating real quick. I'm giving it a thumbs up.
I'm giving it a thumbs up, too.
So, yeah. This trailer was so much more detailed than the last trailer we got, which was more of a teaser. That one, when I remember, it gave us more of what the tone of this movie was. And from the looks of it, it was pretty accurate. This is going to be a pretty dark comedy.
You're very dark.
So, this has two actresses that I have enjoyed their movies lately. I remember what's the girl's name from Split?
Anya Taylor-Joy?
Anya Taylor-Joy, yeah. Anya Taylor-Joy.
Uh-huh.
And Anton Yelchin's in this movie, and something Cook. That's what the girl, I cannot remember her first name. Thoroughbreds movie. Anyways, it's something Cook. Here we go. Olivia Cook, that's her name, from Me, Earl, and the Dying Girl. And she's going to be in Ready Player One. She's a very, very good actress. And you can see that in this scene where she was able to, like, cry instantly. They're both playing, seems like, two different sides of a spectrum, which puts them into a sort of psychopathic. One who can't feel anything and one that feels way too much, which they say in the trailer there. Clearly. And you can see clearly that Olivia Cook is delivering all of her lines.
It's a little detached.
Yes, in a detached way.
Yeah.
It's going to be a really interesting how they play that out through the rest of this movie.
Their dynamic of one who actually gets emotional against one that doesn't really care about anything. And to see how the dynamic flips towards the end, because you know it's going to happen.
Right.
Like how they go, or they may meet in the middle with each other.
And it's so tragic about Anton Yelchin. He seemed to be at the top of his career right before passing away, a week after wrapping on this movie. How good he looks in this movie. He's getting stuck in between these two girls in the most painful way.
Oh, yeah. Very painful way.
Yes. So kind of forced to help them hatch whatever this plan appears that they are setting out to accomplish. And it's looking like Anya Taylor-Joy's stepfather is going to be getting stuck in between this in a bad way also.
Oh, yeah. As that little logo tells you, that's not just a little red circle. That's a drop of blood.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a bloody movie.
Yeah, and I'm really looking forward to this.
It's going to be interesting.
Yeah, this one, this is from a first-time writer and director, too, Corey Finley. And it's supposed to be released March 9th. So we still got a little while to go. A few more months to see this movie. So I'm looking forward to it. And that's Thoroughbreds, guys. If you have not looked up that trailer, look it up. If you have seen it, let us know what you think about it. You looking forward to it?
Thumbs up or thumbs down?
Yes. So let's see. What's our next story here? We're going to something that we do not have. All the money in the world.
Oh, yeah. If we had all the money in the world, we'd be doing... This show would be a whole lot better.
Yes, we'd have somebody else changing these slides.
Yes.
All right. So I didn't have any summary because we've talked about this quite a few times on this show. Clearly, it's about Jean Paul
Getty.
Yeah, Jean Paul Getty, multi-billionaire, millionaire, oil mogul.
An oil mogul with a lot of money.
Whose grandson is kidnapped, and he was refusing to pay the ransom, and all that happened. So maybe I should have wrote a summary for this, because I did not know as much about it as I thought I did.
Yeah.
Anyways.
You kind of like stumbling, rumbling, bumbling all your way through the description, but it's all good.
So as many of you guys know, this was a movie that Kevin Spacey was controversially attached to, and then quickly detached from.
Oh, yeah, they kind of like said, you know what? No, you're not in this no more. They just kind of said, nope, you're out. Christopher Plummer, get in here.
And then they spent the last 2 weeks here reshooting this movie, spending what they said was going to be around $2 million, I think, and ended up being $10 million to reshoot this and replace him with Christopher Plummer.
Way better cost than the Justice League reshoots, that's for sure.
Now, I told you this the other day, about how this was released first as a TV spot, a quick 30-second spot, and they showed you a little bit of Christopher Plummer in there, and I told you, it was like, ooh, this does not give me the chills like I had before when it was Kevin Spacey in there. And then a few hours later, they actually dropped a full trailer, and this trailer was so much better.
and also at the same time, they deliberately changed the tone of the trailer now that Kevin Spacey is gone.
Right. Well, yeah, they gave it more of the thriller vibe rather than this is the Academy Award. They needed to sell a lot more now. Yeah. They're selling it to more people now because they didn't have to quite so much whenever it just had Kevin Spacey.
When they had the makeup work of Kevin Spacey involved, they were actually pitching it as a dramatic
art house film.
Yeah. And now that element of it is
this needs
gone,
to be a blockbuster.
This needs to make money.
Yes. So now this needs to make money, so they're giving you that blockbuster, what's Liam Neeson vibe?
Not quite Liam Neeson. They're giving you more of that, more of that. There's a movie that I'm trying to think of that they're trying to mimic with the now.
Who's in it?
I can't think of it. We'll just say they're trying to mimic other thrillers out here, but give it more of a realistic edge.
Yeah. I mean, I still hope that Christopher Plummer delivers on this movie because he does. I would love to see him get another Oscar. He got his first one a few years ago, which was still years behind when he should have gotten it. But I think it was called The Beginners or something. I forget what the movie was. Either way, it was still. Way later than it should have been. So I'm hoping that he gets another one for this movie because
he deserves it.
Yes, I hope so. Anyway, and Ridley Scott seems to hopefully be back on his game. The Alien Covenant thing. I liked it. I know a lot of people didn't like it, and a lot of people did like it.
A lot of people said it was just an expensive slasher movie in space.
Yeah. But, I mean, I just wish you would just move away from the whole Prometheus storyline and just focus on the alien stuff, because that's what I like.
Yeah, that's what everyone likes, but, he has a vision, and Fox is paying him for his vision.
Yeah.
So, if he's paying them and they're getting the returns they're looking for back, can you really blame him for them making another?
They didn't get the returns sent it back with the Alien Covenant movie.
Yeah,
it was a little bit of a flop. They think they got around what they've invested in it. I don't know. But either way, this seems to be more of his speed, hopefully.
Yeah.
So he's really restricted to the source material here, so he's gets to focus a little bit more on style and all that. So I don't know.
Yeah, that might be interesting.
Is that the... Nope, we have one more trailer to talk about. And I was actually looking forward to this one.
This one caught me by surprise because I wasn't sure. I didn't know this was the thing that was happening.
Yes, this is the Mary Magdalene trailer. Mary Magdalene, who is a popular figure in the Bible. She was one of the disciples of Jesus Christ. And so much of this trailer seems to be very close to what we know from the Bible, which was surprising for me because we heard them talking about there being demons in her, and we know that Jesus had removed 7 demons from her. Which 7 in the Bible we know is the number of perfection, which means 7 demons means she was fully taken over by demons, and Christ had removed them from her. And I believe that seems to be part of the story because they talked about at the beginning there being demons in there, and Joaquin Phoenix playing Jesus Christ seems really interesting. I would like to see what his take on Jesus Christ is.
He's a very interesting actor. So him as Jesus, that's a very interesting move.
Yeah, and Rooney Mara playing Mary Magdalene. I'm not sure who it is that's playing Mary, the Mother of Christ, but this looks like a very, very, very interesting movie.
Very interesting.
And if it's accurate, that makes it even better. I don't mind people taking a little bit of artistic licenses with some stuff, but for these types of stories, I like to be pretty accurate because it's really good source material. It's excellent source material to go off of. And you can take your artistic liberties stylistically, but I like, as far as the source, to be close when it comes to this kind of stuff. So yeah, I'm looking forward to this. This is getting a thumbs up by me, and clearly a thumbs up from you. And
I'm interested to see what they do with it.
Yes. And I don't know when the release date is for that one. Let me see.
I think it just said coming soon.
Coming soon?
I don't think they have a hard date just yet.
Ooh, March 30th. So we're looking at Easter time.
Yeah, around Easter. So it's going to make...
Yeah, it's accurate, yeah.
So it's going to make all the church group money.
Oh, yeah. So they're going to be right around...
It's going to be Passion of the Christ all over again.
Yeah, they'll come out on near like a or Easter Sunday, one of the two.
Yeah.
So...
It's going to make all that... Because church groups are going to flood to this movie.
Oh, yes. And I know a lot of these movies... Around that time, they usually, if they are marketing this to the actual Christian people, they usually try to market it to have church screenings and stuff like that.
They actually say if you're, they actually have a number call and things like that for church groups if you're looking to do that sort of thing for this movie.
Yes.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, so I know a couple...
Didn't The Shack do that?
So yeah, The Shack did that. A lot of those Fireproof and Courageous movies, they play those in church. And Passion of the Christ, I know... A lot of their ticket sale came from church screenings and stuff like that. So, yeah, I remember going to see that in theaters and sitting out the way in the front row opening weekend because it was packed.
Oh, yes. Speaking of Christian films and whatnot, I was just out on Box Office Mojo the other day, and I found out they're making a God's Not Dead 3.
Oh, wow. I wasn't a huge fan of either one of them, to be honest with you. But, yeah. I don't know who's going to be in the third one.
No, I don't know anything about it. I just know that
they make a lot of money off those movies.
No, yeah, I understand if people are coming to see them. Yeah, but
they make them for the price of a pack of gum, and then they
wind up with more money than they know what to do with. So they just make another one.
Yeah. So yeah, super easy films to make. All right, so we'll go ahead and move over to the movie reviews segment of the show. And I believe you're going to lead us off with your review of Mudbound. I didn't put a graphic up, but I got that up for you.
It's going to be a quick review, a little short review. I don't want to spoil it too much because my partner here hasn't seen it yet. But it was a really good dramatic film set around the time of, I believe, either World War I or World War II. I can't remember which one. I think World War I. Centers on this black soldier.
World War II.
World War II, thank you. It centers on this black soldier and this white soldier who become friends as they fight in Germany, the Nazis and all this and all like that. And then they come back home, and all of a sudden neither one of them are. He's adjusted to having a black friend, but and then all the things that come with it since they've been away from this world, and then all the things that come with that are new hurdles they have to come through and their friendship has to come through in this world, and it was really interesting to see. It's a very bittersweet ending, but more sweet than bitter. I enjoyed it a lot. The performances were good. Jason Clarke did good. Jason Mitchell.
Yep, Jason Mitchell.
Yeah, he was really good. All the performances were great. Jonathan.
Garrett Hedlund.
Garrett Hedlund, he was really good as well, playing his friend. He was really good. It was actually a really good movie the whole way through. Mary J. Blige was good. I'd give it a 9 out of 10. It's a good movie. It was really good. I enjoyed it. Thumbs up. We don't have to put the thumb graphic on that, but
right.
but I enjoyed it a lot. It was really good. I recommend you check it out. It's on Netflix, so you don't have to go nowhere to see it. So watch it.
Yeah. I think this is her first real big film, Dee Reese. How was the cinematography?
It was shot really well. It actually captured the grime and grit of everything. It actually made the world feel harsher and lived in at the same time. They made you feel like you were living this with them.
About the soundtrack, got a great soundtrack to it.
It has a great standard.
It's like a good American Standard type.
Good American Standard type stuff. Yeah.
Okay.
I enjoyed it a lot.
Well, that sounds really cool because it's got a great southern look to it. From what I can catch from the trailer, I have not seen it yet. You said that, but I'm really looking forward to it. I've always been a defender of Garrett Hedlund. He's been in quite a few bombs, but he's always performed really well in them, except for Pan. I can't forgive him for that one yet. But
no one can forgive anyone for Pan just yet.
So I'm hoping he's redeemed himself with this movie. So yeah, I mean, I've heard nothing but good things from people, and I'm hearing that this has got really great Oscar potential. At least for the best picture.
Sadly, I don't think it'll get it though.
Ooh, really? You think it's gonna get?
I don't think
outshined by something.
I don't think it's gonna get it because of the fact that it's still on Netflix.
Well, they did release it.
They did release it in the theaters, but that Netflix stigma is still there. Because if Beast of No Nations, that was the one that really showed you that wow. Y'all are really not going to give this movie anything just because it didn't get traditionally released.
Well, I hope they learned their lesson from it. Because, I mean, Manhattan by the Sea from Amazon Studios. We're going to cut the show. No, I'm just kidding. We're going to end it today. Manchester by the Sea. I knew I was going to say that. I've been telling, because I'm going to mention this later on one of my other reviews, Manchester by the Sea. And I've been saying Manhattan all week. And I said, no, it's Manchester. It's Manchester. And I just said it. So hopefully that's the one time I'm going to say that. Manchester by the Sea you saw all the Academy Award wins it got.
But that got traditionally released.
It did. This sort of got traditionally released. It followed enough to meet Oscar standards. They released it in New York and they released it in Los Angeles like they were supposed to, which is the minimum requirement for them to be on, to be considered for Oscar nominations.
Did not know that.
Yep. So
I know when I make my movie to just release it in 2 places than Netflix.
Yep. Well, it has to be in New York and it has to be Los Angeles.
Oh yeah, New York and Los Angeles. I know that. I just said that.
I just thought you just meant random 2 places.
No, if I ever do make a movie, New York, L.A., Netflix.
Yes. Yeah. Well. Anyways, so. Yeah, I mean, Dee Reese, she got a lot of recognition for a show. What was that mini-series or made-for-TV she did with Queen Latifah last year?
What was that?
Bessie.
Yeah, Bessie.
That one, she got, I believe she won nominated. She got 2 primetime nominations for Emmys. So, yeah, I mean, I'm going to check it out. I'm going to check it out probably tomorrow, as soon as I can. So, guys, if you've seen Mudbound, let us know what you thought about it. Or do you want to see Mudbound, or is there something else that you want to suggest to us? Anyways, guys, that is the review for Mudbound. You said 9 out of 10.
Yes.
All right. So we will move on to our very next review for a movie that only I saw without you, and that is Coco.
Mm-hmm.
See, I had really hoped that you had seen Coco because I did not put a summary in here, and now I'm regretting it.
I could pretty much gather from what I remember watching on the trailers and whatnot. Little boy loves music, but it's kind of like outlawed in his family because of what a previous member of the family did.
Yep.
And then he finds his grandfather's guitar in the basement.
Nope. he didn't find his grandfather's. Well, he built a guitar on his own, and then his grandmother destroys the guitar because she found out that he's been playing. So there's this musician that he idolizes, basically, whose name is very Spanish, and that's one of the reasons why I wish. Come on.
If you show me the name, I can probably pronounce it.
No, I can pronounce it. It's this It's IMDb is being really crazy right now and auto scrolling for some reason. Okay, here it is. His name is Ernesto de la Cruz. So Ernesto de la Cruz is a singer that he idolizes who passed away years before he was born, and he wants to play at a big talent show in the town center. But his family obviously is telling him, no, you're not allowed to play. Music is banned. So he runs away from his family. He says, I don't want to have anything to do with you guys. You just forget about me. And he runs away. And he goes to a museum, De La Cruz Museum, that's honoring De La Cruz, and takes his guitar so he can go play in that talent show. And from there, he starts seeing, or as soon as he grabs a guitar, he starts seeing ghosts of all his family members and all these other ghosts that are around him. And this is the Day of the Dead, all happening on the Day of the Dead, which is a Mexican religious holiday.
De la Muerte, right?
Muertos de...
I have just broken him. Yes.
So it's not that, but either way.
Yeah, okay. They'll probably fix it for us in the chat.
Dias de la Muerte or something, I don't know. But either way, this is the Day of the Dead where you put out a picture of a loved one and you talk about them, light a candle, and supposedly that loved one will come visit you on the Day of the Dead. And he has one for all of his cousins, his uncles, and everybody. But and he's got a mother, grandmother, and a great-grandmother. And his great-grandmother, one of the reasons why they banned music, this isn't a spoiler or anything, but one of the reasons why they banned this music is because her father was a musician, and he chose music over his family. He left his family so he can go off and perform. And that from then on, his great-grandmother, who's the daughter of that musician, has always had music banned from them. Okay. Yeah, that's a brief summary without getting into any spoilers of Coco, and I hope I didn't confuse anybody.
Okay.
Did you understand it from my description?
Oh, yeah, I understood it perfectly.
Okay. So, that being said, this is my favorite movie of the year.
Ooh.
This is probably my favorite Pixar movie, right next to Toy Story.
Wow.
So, that's saying a lot.
That is saying a whole lot.
This is probably one of the best animated movies as far as animation ever. As this is absolutely gorgeous. And this movie's full of... It's a really funny movie. But it's really dark. It's a little darker than a normal Disney animated movie.
But that's par for the course of most Pixar movies.
Right. And it's par for the course for the subject matter, too. So, that...
You can't have a movie about death and then not touch on it.
Yes. And it's very emotional movie. That I had heard from a lot of people that saying that bring tissues or something, you're gonna cry, and closer and closer to the ending that I got, it's like, well, I'm not crying yet. It's like I feel like I could, but I'm not quite there. And I get to the last 10 minutes of the movie, and I'm bawling like a baby. I was like, oh, this is where it's happening.
I was like, oh, it's happening here. Oh. So you're going to make me a liar. All right.
I was like, maybe it just didn't get me like it's supposed to.
I said, no, you know what? I'm choked up, but I ain't got that. And here we are.
There it is.
Yep. Bring the napkins. Bring the tissues. Yep, we're here.
Yeah. So, but like I said, visually, this Land of the Dead, I believe is what they call it, that he shows up in is, it's kind of like, I'd say it's a little bit like the Blade Runner style, where it's like just a huge neon paradise. It's gorgeous. And the animation that they use for some of the family members of his, like the non-dead ones, is kind of frightening. They look like giant. They have these giant heads, especially his grandmother and great grandmother. They look very creepy a little bit, but it's still pretty cool and realistic. Then the textures in this movie are really well done. Like there's some parts where he's in water, and it looks ultra realistic. You wouldn't believe that it was done by a computer. It felt like it was animated over top of real life textures, but apparently this was all completely animated, which is amazing. But I'd say where the movie's weakest points would have to only be some of the music. There's some really good songs in here. The songs are really good. I just feel like they're forgettable. I think the only time that Pixar's ever really done music really well was in the first Toy Story. I think those songs are the ones that we were going to remember forever. Whereas these songs you're kind of forget as soon as you leave the theater, which is a little not. It's kind of not like Disney, those Disney movies.
It was just kind of disappointing considering that music plays a theme in the story.
Right. The music plays such a huge part of the story where you're going to kind of forget about everything, which is a little ironic because the main song in this movie is called Remember Me. And you're kind of I think it's because I was probably crying during one of the last performances of that song. But that's okay, though.
I kind of wish I saw this with him.
Yes.
Because we've probably been crying on each other's shoulders or something.
Yeah, this was definitely...
and like, we challenge each other. Don't do it. Don't. And then the tears coming out of his eyes and it start coming out of my eyes. And like, well, you know what? We lost. All right.
Now, this has nothing to do with the movie itself. But before I saw this movie, there was an animated short.
Oh, I was about to ask you about this.
And it was not very short. This movie was 21 minutes. Olaf's Frozen Christmas. Olaf's Frozen Christmas. I didn't hate that short, but I can see why other people did. You're going to a movie that starts at 7 o'clock, and you're not going to see it until 8, because you're going to have almost 30 minutes of trailers, and you're going to sit through an almost 30-minute animated short, where this isn't really even the time where they usually show those ones, because that's a Disney animated short, where I'm going to see a Pixar movie, you usually see those 3 to 5 minute Pixar shorts. So I would much rather have seen a Pixar short than another one of Frozen. Where, and this is another thing, if this was to test the waters for whether audiences are ready for a Frozen 2, I don't think we're ready for it yet. I think it's a little too soon, because some of the stuff that they try to play off of in this movie, to play off of some of your I guess your feelings from the first one, they do a lot of callbacks, and it's like, yeah, I'm still a little annoyed after seeing this movie about 50 times with my nieces and nephews. I'm not ready for another one yet.
The problem is you're not the target audience.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I was for the first one. I love the first Frozen. It's
but you never were the target audience.
Yeah, I wasn't. Yeah, I'll admit it.
The little girls are the target audience, hence why they still make Frozen toys.
Yeah.
Here's something you need to know now. Remember a few years back they had that short called Frozen Fever?
Yeah.
They made toys based on that.
Oh, apparently they've made toys off of like the brand new outfits that they put in this movie. They've already got them in stores. They had them in stores today. Coco came
they got enough merchandise and they're selling enough merchandise. Well, they can drop Frozen 2 tomorrow and people will go.
And the sad part about this is also that I had seen more marketing for this short than I did for Coco. They had this poster outside the theater months ago, and they didn't have any Coco poster outside the theaters.
That's intriguing.
Yeah. So I forgot that they were putting in front of Coco. I'll admit that, because I wasn't looking forward to seeing this day in the first place.
So you know what you just sat through, right?
What's that?
You just sat through a yearly tradition now.
No, what's that?
Olaf's Frozen Christmas. You don't think they're going to play that on TV
every year? Yeah. See, now that's where I was going to say. This probably would have been better received if this was played on ABC or something. Or like Disney Channel or something.
After they played both the prep and landings?
Yeah. If they did it for like after the Macy's Day Parade or something.
Yeah.
It would have been more appropriate.
Which, by the way, Prep and Landing and Prep and Landing Naughty or Nice, I enjoy both of those very, very much.
Okay.
Have you ever watched those?
Nope.
They're it's about a team of elves that get the house ready for Santa. Before he gets to your house.
I may have seen the first one. Now I think about it.
They prep the house for Santa's arrival.
Okay.
And in the sequel, they lose the Naughty or Nice. One of them gets their Naughty or Nice scanner stolen. And the little kid hacks it to mark every child naughty at once. So no one gets anything for Christmas. So they have to go find the child who did this. It's pretty interesting.
Okay.
But that's besides the point.
Right.
Coco.
So anyways, Coco. What do I give it?
Yes. Said it was your favorite movie of the year. I'm expecting nothing lower than a 10.
It is a 10 out of 10.
All right.
You are correct. I was very pleased with this movie. If the weakest thing in this movie was just that some of the songs were a little forgettable, that's forgivable for the emotional ride I went through with this movie and how beautiful this movie looked on the screen. Definitely a 10 out of 10. Will recommend. Have you guys seen Coco? What'd you think of it? And let us know in the comments. So we will move along to our next review, which is 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri. If you guys didn't see what I was doing there, I was making sure I got every single word of that title right, because it is a mouthful.
Most times in the commercials, they just say 3 Billboards.
Well, anyways, speaking of mouthfuls, everybody in this movie deserves a mouthful of soap. Because this was one of the filthiest language movies I've seen in a little while. And I'm not a prude or anything. I mean, most of my favorite movies are all Scorsese movies, which are notorious for this kind of language. And I still don't think that they outdid Scorsese, but they definitely came close in this movie.
They were going for it. They gave it an honest try.
Yeah, they gave it a very nice try. This is, like I said, this movie is called 3 Billboards Outside of Ebbing, Missouri. It's directed by Martin McDonough. Dana, I think is what he pronounced his name. He's done movies called like In Bruges, I think is what it's pronounced. In Bruges? Brogues, okay. And 7 Psychopaths, which was both really great movies. And this is, I believe, his 3rd movie. I've seen all of his movies, I believe. Anyways, this movie is about a mother, or I guess she's more of a woman. I guess she's a mother, yeah. She's a mother, played by Frances McDormand, whose daughter was tragically murdered by an unknown person. And this has happened several months before where we start off in this movie. And then she puts up 3 billboards as a way to press on the town's police chief, played by Woody Harrelson, to keep looking at this case, because she feels like that the police has given up on this case. And she puts up these billboards. I mean, I forget how they worded it, but it basically is saying that her daughter was raped while she's dying, and no suspects. And then she says, "Why, Captain, or why police, why Chief, whatever, whatever the chief's name is." Anyways, so yeah, it's pretty controversial with her small town that she lives outside Ebbing, Missouri. Nobody in the town likes these billboards. They don't believe these billboards, especially the police officers that are involved here. One of the police officers that definitely did not enjoy these billboards was an officer played very well by Sam Rockwell. This is probably one of my favorite performances from Sam Rockwell, and I like a lot of Sam Rockwell performances. But he basically plays the worst kind of police officer you can think of. He's racist. He's homophobic. He says, and uses all of that language.
He uses that toolbox very well.
Yes, he uses those. He uses that toolbox very well in this movie.
He's like anger in He like angry and inside out. I can't wait to use the dirty word buttons.
Yes. I mean, every single performer in this movie was magnificent. Frances McDormand, I believe, is definitely going to be nominated for Best Actress in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
Sam Rockwell should be nominated for Best Supporting Actor. And one of my other favorite persons in this was, I believe his name is, I know his name, he goes by he has a middle name, Caleb, I think it's Landry Jones, I want to say.
Mm-hmm.
Caleb... Oops, I didn't type his name right. Caleb. I hate my computer, dude. Okay. Caleb Landry Jones. Yes, Caleb Landry Jones, who apparently has a really good manager because he's been in all the good movies this year. We've seen him in Get Out. We've seen him in American Made. Yeah, he was in another one, something violence. I never forget what it's called, but it had Stellan Skarsgård in it. It was a police movie. Either way, that one was probably the weakest one out of the movies he's done this year, but it was still a very good movie.
Mm-hmm.
But you know who I'm talking about now that I said that he was in Get Out and he was in American Made?
Yeah, he was the
brother in Get Out.
He was the brother in Get Out, and he was JB in American Made.
Yes.
Got blown up in his gremlin.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, he was. Oh my gosh! I typed in Caleb Landry Jones and ended up on Alexandra Daddario. I don't know how that happens, but
all right. Don't know how that happens
hate
either.
This, but I'm not mad. But
I'm not mad. IMDb. I'm just disappointed.
Yes, I typed in a name for Caleb Landry Jones and end up on Alexandra Daddario, but
okay.
All right. Anyways, the movie, it's bugging me that I can't remember this movie. I mean, he was also in like X-Men First Class. Here it is. The movie is. Oh, he's in The Florida Project, which is another movie that's getting a lot of Oscar buzz that I have not seen yet.
Mm-hmm.
But the movie War on Everyone, that was the one I was talking about. Anyways, back to this movie.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I keep focusing on how this movie uses the language, and if this movie did not, I feel like there was a reason for it, because anger plays a huge part of this movie. The anger that Frances McDormand feels for the police for not solving this murder, the anger that she has for some people in her family, especially her ex-husband, played by John Hawkes, who is awesome in this movie. And definitely the anger coming towards her from some of the people in the police, especially Sam Rockwell.
Mm-hmm.
Anger plays a huge part, and it's festered in these people. Because you can see before this murder, there's some flashbacks in this movie before this murder had occurred. Mm-hmm. Frances McDormand was almost the polar opposite. I mean, she still used a little bit of foul language in there, but her look and everything and appearance was a lot better. She's let herself go and has turned into a very unattractive person, which is not anything against her because she's a very pretty lady. Frances McDormand is a very pretty lady, but she's playing an unattractive person in this movie. And the main message of this movie is what you can get out of anger.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not a lot. And where I think a lot, I've even heard from some other critics that the ending, I'm not spoiling the ending or anything, but the ending felt to some like a cop-out, and it did to me while I was watching the movie. And when I went back home and thought about this movie, I thought about that ending, I thought about what the theme of this movie is, which is anger, and how you can make bad decisions in moments of anger, which there's a lot of bad decisions being made in this movie, and especially what I thought about that ending. And then if you see this movie and then you see that ending, it'd be a lot easier for me to discuss why it ended the way it did. And it's very poetic the way that it ended now that I thought about it. And I'm not quite as mad about it. And I think it actually was a perfect ending. I could have maybe added a few more minutes to it, but that wouldn't have been quite as poetic, I guess. So now that I'm done being vague, I will go ahead and tell you what I thought, or where I'm rating this movie, because I did like the soundtrack in this movie too. The soundtrack was great, cinematography was great, acting was outstanding. So I'm giving this movie a 9.5 out of 10. So, like I said, the language in this movie felt out of place at first until I realized what was going on with it.
Like, wow, ooh, oh, there's a point to it. Okay.
Yeah, the point will go over anybody's head who's not thinking about why people are talking this way, because I can see people walking out of it because of how they talk in this movie. As it does in a Scorsese movie, it feels appropriate. Where in this movie, it did feel forced a bit, which is why I said there has to be a reason for it, and there is, and it all has to do with anger. That's the central theme of this movie is anger, and people might get mad at the ending if they don't understand that, because there's a reason why it ended the way it did. So yeah, 9.5 out of 10. It was a very enjoyable movie, and I can see some people getting nominated for Oscars for this movie, especially Frances McDormand and probably Martin McDowell, at least for screenplay. Now, another weak point, I should have pointed this out earlier, is Abby Cornish. She felt like she was in another movie than everybody else in this movie. She's the only one with an accent. I believe she's Australian, so she had an Australian accent, while everybody in there is talking with their Missouri accents, and she's in there with her Australian accent. She plays Woody Harrelson's wife in this movie, and there were some scenes where she was supposed to express emotion for something that happened in the movie, and it didn't work. It didn't work for me. I was like, man, this would have been a little bit more powerful with a better actress or a different actress. But she, like I said, she was awkward from the moment she started talking in this movie. I said, oh, man. I said, I like Abby Cornish. She's been in some great movies. But just in this movie, she shouldn't have been in it. Or she should have at least tried something else than what she was presenting this character as. Because her character wasn't in there very long. And, yeah. I was just say that. And Caleb Landry Jones, like I said, he was in my favorite scene in the movie. There's a hospital scene with him, and there's a moment with him and Sam Rockwell. It's amazing, beautiful scene. And Caleb Landry Jones, this is his best performance yet, and I'm looking forward to seeing what else he will do. So, like I said, 9.5 out of 10. This felt almost a little bit like a Coen Brothers movie. Coen Brothers don't use that much language, but if they had to for the purpose of the film, maybe they would have. So,
glad to hear that it's good.
Yes.
Might check it out.
So, guys, have you seen 3 Billboards Outside of Ebbing, Missouri? If so, what'd you think about it? Did you like the ending? I really want to talk about this ending with somebody. So if any of you guys do see this movie, please hit me up. I want to talk about this.
Comment below and let us know.
Yes, I want to talk about this movie.
He wants to talk about it now.
All right, guys. So let's move on to our next review. This one, it's been talked about quite a bit lately. Apparently, it's the
best reviewed movie of all time.
Of all time, according to Rotten Tomatoes. So, this is Lady Bird. Written and directed for first time on her own directing, Greta Gerwig. She did another movie with another director. It wasn't quite as well known, but this is her first attempt at writing and directing a movie. And I say she did pretty well. Now, I've always get a little bit nervous whenever actors move into directing, because they focused a little bit more on performance and not so much on story and substance and all that good stuff.
Yeah, that could have.
So it's kind of the George Clooney problem, where substance isn't always there, but the acting and performances are kind of there because that's their forte. But
they know what they know, and they use that as their strength.
Yes, that is not the case here with Lady Bird. This was, definitely the best. Would you call it? Debut for an actor to directing that I've ever seen. This man, I was trying to make a point a minute ago that I was trying to figure out. Now I've already forgotten it. But Greta Gerwig, she's only been acting since 2005. I felt like I had heard of her a lot longer than that, but apparently that's when that's her very first credit on IMDb. It was in 2005 for acting, and I know she's really big in like the indie circuit. She kind of is in that circle with Ty. I think his name's Ty West or something. And trying to remember the guy's name. He directed Death Note. Do you remember the guy's name that directed Death Note? He's part of that circle of people.
I have blocked that movie out of my memory. I can't think of it right now.
I'm trying to remember, but I know they all do each other's movies. Like one of them will direct, and then they will all act in it, and they will. It's just Adam Wingard. He's part of that circle of friends and stuff. So yeah, they're all. That's where I've been hearing of Greta Gerwig before. Was watching those types of movies, and not all of them are good, but this was very good. Saoirse Ronan, amazing actress. She's definitely grown a lot since The Lovely Bones is one of the first movies I remember seeing her in.
Oh, The Lovely Bones. I remember that one.
And she did Hannah, which was great. She did Brooklyn, which was great. So she's very well-rounded, and this is a very different role than she has done previously. This felt a lot like The Edge of 17 did last year, where it was a great coming-of-age movie, very accurate. It avoided a lot of cliches, where the same was said for this one. This one, there's a lot of moments of that could have felt like a cliche, but it felt a lot more realistic than that, which was awesome. And some of the lines felt like they were improvised, but that's not saying, it's not a dig against it.
It made it feel more genuine.
Yes. And one amazing thing about this movie, what's her name now? Crud. She was in Roseanne, and she's in this movie. What's her name? Dang it.
Sarah Gilbert?
No. She played the mother in this movie. Laurie Metcalf. Laurie Metcalf. Amazing. She was amazing as Lady Bird's mom. Now, here's what the movie's about anyway. I forgot to summarize this movie. It's about a girl named Catherine. She's a senior in high school. She prefers to be called Lady Bird. That's just a nickname that or that's the name that she's given herself. It's not a nickname. That's what her name she wants to go by. And she's basically trying to figure out how to navigate into adulthood from her adolescence. And she wants to she's growing up. She's only knows and has only grown up in Sacramento, California. And she wants to be as far away from there as possible. She wants to be in New York, where all the other writers and poets are. She wants to be with those kind of people, where she feels kind of ashamed to be where she's from, and to be from the family that she's grown up in. She did not grow up in a very wealthy family. A lot of the story focuses on her, a little bit of the story focuses on her father losing his job. Her father, who is played by, what's his name? Oof. His name is not on here. Either way, her father was played excellent, whoever the man was that played her dad. So the relationship between Laurie Metcalf and the man that played her father was so real and it helped balance out, because the dad, he goes through a lot. He suffers from depression, but he doesn't let it affect his relationship with his family. But Laurie Metcalf, the mom, puts all that weight on top of her, and she is a lot more honest than he is about that type of stuff. So she's the one that has to get on to Lady Bird about her attitude and how it affects the family and how it affects her dad. And she's the one that feels more of the shame that Lady Bird puts on the family.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I mean, it's very realistic family dynamic. It's a very realistic mother-daughter, child-parent relationship, and it was a very, very real movie. The weakest point I'd say in this movie was probably, if I had to choose, this is literally just a nitpick. If I had to choose a weak point in this movie, it would just be the soundtrack. There's no movie's not going to win any awards for the music in this movie, except for it had some really cool throwbacks, because this was a movie that was set in 2002 to 2003 time, and there was a couple throwbacks in there, like "Cry Me a River" from Justin Timberlake was used in the movie, which was pretty funny.
Mm-hmm.
But and this was also around the time where cell phones were starting to become a little bit more common with younger people, which was used in a funny way in this movie. So, yeah, this movie has a lot of light-hearted moments, and it has a lot of really serious moments. It definitely had its Oscar moment within the last, let's say, 10 minutes of the movie is the real Oscar-winning moments there. And I really can see Laurie Metcalf getting nominated. I looked at Laurie Metcalf's IMDb to see if I had just been... I said, I don't remember. I said, I really don't think she's done anything since Roseanne. And she has done a lot of voice roles. She's done a couple TV shows. I know she's had small parts and stuff on like Big Bang Theory and stuff like that. But I was like, has she really never done anything like this kind of movie? Has not. So it was really cool that Greta Gerwig or whoever was, I mean, I know Allison Jones was the casting director in this movie, but I don't know who the decision it ultimately was to hire Laurie Metcalf for this movie, but I'm glad they did, and I really want to see more of Laurie Metcalf after this movie.
Mm-hmm.
So, and some of the cast in this movie, you guys are going to be hearing a lot about, like Lucas Hedges, who was in Manchester by the Sea, and he was also the son in Three Billboards movie. He was also in this movie, and he was really good in this movie. He had a really cool character arc and reveal in this movie that I thought was really fun and neat and somewhat emotional. And then Timothée Chalamet is in this movie. He's also going to be in another movie that's getting a lot of Oscar buzz called Call Me by Your Name, an Armie Hammer movie. He was excellent in this movie. He helped he helped Lady Bird reach her ultimate character arc in this movie, where she gets to. All right. He was kind of the helped push her to where she needed to get in this movie.
He was the she needed.
Yep. So
all right, that's good to hear.
It was really, really neat. And I'm trying to remember the girl's name. She was in Neighbors 2. Here it is, Beanie Feldstein, I think is how you pronounce her last name.
Mm-hmm.
She was Lady Bird's best friend in this movie. Really good. She was so good. She played a really realistic, like preppy friend, but I think that's what you would call her. But she was the friend that she later on becomes ashamed of, and then to avoid the cliches, wants to go back and stuff. But either way, she's actually Jonah Hill's younger sister. She was. All I could think about once I knew that was I said I could totally see Jonah Hill and his sister in this character. It was really cool. But either way, this was an excellent movie. I'm giving it a 10. I'm giving it a 10. There's no weak points in this movie. Like I said, if I had to nitpick, it would be the soundtrack, and that's not a huge nitpick.
So that's 2 10s, a 9.5, and a 9 tonight.
Yes.
Wow. We really like what we saw this weekend.
It's been quite a year. I'm not even grading this on a curve. If this had some negativity,
you would have pointed them out.
I would have pointed them out, and I would have lowered the score.
Mm-hmm.
But there was none in here. Everybody did their job very well in this movie, and I'm extremely excited to see what else Greta Gerwig has to do after this movie. And they could do a sequel in this movie. I really do want to know what happens after this movie stopped. There's so much more to the story that could be told. I don't know necessarily if it needs to be a sequel or if it could be like a spiritual sequel, maybe. I don't know. But there's definitely a lot that can be told for this rest of this story. And I really liked it.
All right.
So, guys, let us know. Did you see Lady Bird? Did you agree with the 10? Do you think that it deserves to be the highest reviewed movie of all time on Rotten Tomatoes? Let us know in the comments.
Yes.
Because I don't know necessarily if it deserves to be all time, but definitely for this year, it's one of the better movies I've seen. So, now we are going to go to the somewhat fun part.
Yes,
I guess it is the fun part.
Oh, I have to stand up to get something. 1 second.
So, a lot of you guys remember we did not do a show last week. But we normally would be presenting awards. So, the last episode, you won that belt.
Yes, I did.
You had a very good score. I don't remember if that was the one that you got almost everything right, but I think...
Yeah, I went 5 for 5.
You did go for 5 for 5 for last episode.
5 for 5.
Okay, so we did do some predictions that last episode, but we're going to be erasing them. They're not going to count because we didn't do a show last week, and I did not care to tally the scores up. So I'm going to tell you guys what our current top 5 is, so that way we can know how we're going to predict these scores. Because the weird part about this is that most of these movies that we reviewed today, besides Coco, are all in limited release. So none of them are breaking any box office right now. So here's what the current weekend, or last weekend anyway, top 5 was. We have number 5, Daddy's Home 2, with 13.2 million. Thor Ragnarok, number 4, 16.9 million. Number 3 is Wonder, 22.7 million. Number 2 is Justice League, with 41.1 million. And number 1 was Coco, 50.8 million. So, I really don't know how many theaters these movies... I'm going to see how many theaters Lady Bird is playing in. So, Lady Bird is only playing in 1.2 thousand. So, 1,100 basically theaters. So, not enough to probably bring it up into the top 5. And 3 Billboards is 1,400 theaters. So, not enough to bring it to the top 5.
No.
So,
based on what's left.
Wait a minute. There was another one that just came out, too. What was the Denzel Washington movie called?
Oh, Roman J. Israel Esquire. That came out the same weekend. That came out the same time Coco did, though.
It did?
Yep.
I thought it came out this last one. That one... Ooh. It's not even coming up in here. Let's see here. Ooh. Forget it. It's not even breaking the top 5. So, with that, I really don't know what else we can do with this box office.
Yeah, there's something we can do. Does Justice League fall out from number 2? Does Thor Ragnarok jump up or jump down? Does Wonder jump up or jump down?
I don't think Thor Ragnarok is going to jump up anywhere near Justice League right now. So, yeah. Justice League and Coco were both, like I said, Justice League had 41, Coco had 50. So, how much do we think both of those are going to drop is the question for this week. So
I'll start it off.
Go ahead and start yours off.
Number 5 for me, Thor Ragnarok.
Okay. So do I do my number 5 now?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see here. My number 5. I'm gonna go with Daddy's Home.
Oh, you're sticking with number 5 as Daddy's Home.
Yeah, because they were very close, but I don't know how much more they can. I mean, it's gonna be a race between the two of them, Daddy's Home and Thor Ragnarok, and with it being close to Christmas time, I think it can still keep it enough. So Daddy's Home is number 5. Daddy's Home 2 anyway.
That's where we and you differ.
Okay.
I'm going to say that by a slight margin, that's going to be number 4 this weekend.
Ooh. Okay. All right. Well, that's where my number 4 is going to be Thor. Okay. So my number 4 is Thor, and your number 4 is Daddy's Home 2.
My number 3, Justice League.
Ooh. So you thinking Wonder might be Justice League? Wow. Okay.
Because that movie may have legs.
It's I mean, it's
With
getting really
Justice
positive reviews, and Justice League's not necessarily getting positive reviews.
And it's getting closer to the holiday season.
Man, I don't know. I'm sticking with Wonder for number 3, but I'm totally wanting to agree with you.
That's why it's a game.
Yeah. Okay, so your number 2 is Justice League?
My number 2 is...
Oh, sorry, your number 2 is Wonder. My number 2 is Justice League. Okay.
And number 1 is... Coco.
Coco. My number 1 is also Coco. So we both agree number 1 is going to be Coco. And how much do you think it's going to make is the question.
35 million.
35 million.
I predict 35 million for the number 1 movie this weekend.
I want to know if I agree with you. What did it make last weekend? Last weekend it made 50, and you think it's just going to drop down to 35.
Yeah, because last weekend you have to technically count it starting on Wednesday. That's just the Friday to Saturday numbers. But from that Wednesday to Sunday, it made like, what, 70 something?
Yeah, 72 million. Whew. That's a really good number to pick. I'm going to go slightly below you to 28 million. But I do like your number a lot. But not that confident in it. I think it might make a little over 50%. But there's really... Because there is... Or not this weekend. There's not much competing with it. Especially for the kids to go see.
Nothing at all.
So, yeah, I'm going to stick with 28 million, but 32? 35 million. That's a good number, too. Because, like I said, there's nothing competing with it, and that's one of the other better reviewed movies that's out right now. So, and it's definitely still in wide release.
Yes.
So, none of these indie movies are in wide release, so not everybody's going to be able to even see some of these movies. Oh, yes.
Show the people at home.
Let me show you guys my board. So, you want read yours out real quick?
5, Thor Ragnarok. 4, Daddy's Home. 3, Justice League. 2, Wonder. 1, Coco with 35 million.
Yep, and mine was 5, Daddy's Home 2. 4, Thor Ragnarok. 3, Wonder. 2, Justice League. And 1, Coco. Guys, do you have a box office? What was your top 5 box office predictions? Is there anything that you think...
Going to jump up, jump down, think we're totally wrong and don't know what we're talking about? Let us know.
Yeah. That's a good way to put it. So, anyways, guys, we are reaching the end of the show. This is almost 11:30. So,
You want to
Night Hippie told us earlier. I just now read this comment though. Dia de los Muertos. Day of the Dead.
Okay. All right. Thank you for that.
Yes.
You want to tell them about what's going on?
Yeah. So next week, because of your schedule, and the fact that the last time I did a show by myself, it was a Dias de los Muertos.
Yeah. He saw the show walk by in Coco.
Yes.
He saw that one episode walk by in Coco. I said, wow, this movie's accurate.
Yes. So we're going to try to record a special episode. So we're not going to have a live show next week.
No live next week, but
No
we got
live
something
show.
planned.
Yeah, but we have something really cool planned still. So we'll actually have something to upload on that Friday. Might go up a little earlier than when we normally would do a live show, but it will still nonetheless be something for that day.
It'll be episode 12 and a half.
Yes, episode 12 and a half. So we got some cool stuff that we're going to have planned for it. So be on the lookout for that, guys. And remember to like and subscribe. That is a very big part of how this algorithm works on YouTube. And comment, please, on
and
those points.
Share.
Yes, sharing where it helps too.
Sharing is caring, guys.
I've been looking up how to get this show a little bigger this week, and I know that the algorithm really likes long shows, and it really likes when people comment, like, and share. So if you don't have to just do 2 out of 3, that's fine. But at the very least, if you are watching this and you are not subscribed, please subscribe. And please like and comment. I know movie fans are very opinionated. So if you're seeing this show and you're not commenting, you're not doing your job.
Yeah, even if you tell us we suck, just say something.
Yes. Constructive criticism helps.
Yeah, constructive. Yes. If you just say we suck and then that's it, we don't consider your criticism valid.
Yes.
Why do we suck?
Yes, I want to know why we suck.
And because that way we can make it better the next time.
Yes. I've been making little bitty improvements these last 12 episodes. I'm hoping you guys have noticed that this sounds a little better. I'm hoping it sounded better. We have a couple new things attached to the soundboard to help with some of the disgusting sounds.
Yeah.
So, anyways.
Shout out to the internet for cooperating tonight, too. It just didn't crash on us.
Right. Also, for our podcast listeners, if you're getting this off of iTunes, please remember to review it on iTunes. It helps with ranking and all that good stuff. Also, I think it also there's a review thing on Google Play if you're looking on there. Wherever you're finding this thing, look for a review. And
just let us know how we're doing.
Yes. So, anyways, guys, that's it for the show. Again, my name is Walker Cheatham. You can find me on Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, Twitter. Not very active. The most active I'm on is Instagram. So if you want to follow me there, that's the best place to go. What about you?
Best place to follow me is Facebook at GeekChampsEJ. But I'm also on Twitter, Instagram, and Snapchat. Those are going to be real active soon because I'm working on trying to get me a better phone so I can be active on all these things.
Yeah.
So bear with me, people. It's going to happen soon.
Yes.
And shout out to the third man of the outfit, Zachary Cheatham. I'll find him on all his Instagrams, Twitter, Facebooks, and everything at Horror Champs. And also one more shout out to our written review man who hasn't really done anything in a while, but but it is what it is. Alex Smith. Shout out to him too. Yep.
Shout out to Alex Smith. And like I said, when we start getting a little bit of just this algorithmic support, I guess you'd call it, it will motivate us a little bit more to start being a little more active on the website. I'm going to I usually try to get these episodes uploaded onto there and have like a summary written of everything, so that way it helps with our rankings and Google and all that good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's a little SEO tip. Make sure you have stuff written, otherwise Google doesn't recognize anything.
Mm-hmm.
So guys, that's the episode.
Yes.
This has been episode 12 of the Movie Champs Show, and we hope you guys will come back next time.
Mm-hmm.
So goodbye, guys.
Good night, y'all.
Good night.